So a couple of those jokes.
Yeah, there's some lovely and controversial words there, mate. Could come back to haunt you, but we'll see. But anyway, hello everyone. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Tom, and together with Rodri, I'm one of the poor souls who's been given the role of Steve's best man. And as one of the best men, I'm here to tell you about how truly special, talented, good looking, and I'm sorry mate, I've got no idea. What does that say? Which hand might I say that? I think we can all agree that it's been a fantastic day so far, and hopefully that won't change after Rod and I speak.
Like the groom, we'll try and keep this short and sweet. To start, Tom and I would like to thank you all for coming today and just say how fantastic everybody looks. In particular, the beautiful bride. Rosie, Steve couldn't believe his luck when he saw you walking down the aisle today, and I can't blame him. To be honest, I never thought anybody would replace Steve's first love, which was Gaz from Jolly Shore. But I think you have it, and more.
Rosie, you're a wonderful woman who deserves a wonderful husband, and we won't stop until we get to the bottom of what the hell has happened. With that in mind, Roger and I want you all to raise a glass to Rosie for agreeing to sign up to a lifetime of Stephen Forster. It takes a resilient individual to show such commitment. So, to Rosie.
To Rosie!
Woo! Now, I don't know if Steve's mentioned it today, or in the last 5 minutes, but you used to live in a place called Australia? Which is where we met back in 2009 in a seedy backpacker club in Sydney called The Gaff, where we spent the next 2-3 years consistently every Friday and Saturday night tearing up the dance floor dressed as camp sailors, camp bunny rabbits, camp tennis players, and camp fairies. But anyway, the first night I met Steve, I honestly thought it was a wind-up. Not only was I in shock to meet someone who could finally join my Jedward tribute act, but I honestly couldn't believe how much one person could speak, especially on a dance floor in a nightclub. Anyone that knows Steve, and I've been told that not a lot of people here today actually do, but for those who do, you will know that he loves chatting complete nonsense. When I first met him, I was so confused by him, I thought, this has to be a joke. The amount of questions he asked to the point, and I mean this, I genuinely thought I was being recorded. But I soon realised that he just loves the small talk and filling any gaps of silence with irrelevant questions that literally mean nothing. But I must have thought he was okay as we went on to spend the next 4 years living in each other's pockets, sharing deep V-neck t-shirts, blow drying each other's hair, and even bathing together. And that's true. Naked. Being friends with Steve back then was always entertaining, as a lot of people, if not everyone, would mistake us for being lovers instead of mates. Which, going off my previous stories, you can probably see why. But in all honesty, I actually quite liked it, as I was always referred to as the better looking one that doesn't chat as much rubbish. So thank you for making me look good, mate. It's always been appreciated.
So, I, like Tom, also met Steve in Australia. It's unusual to meet a good friend later in life when you're a fully formed adult, or in Steve's case, a miniature-sized adult. But I can vividly remember the first time I saw Steve. Not the first time I met Steve, but the first time I actually saw Steve, the first time I laid eyes on him. It was early January in Sydney, and I was returning from a lunch break at Sydney Tower. I was waiting to cross the road. I saw this guy slightly above average in looks, well below average in height. But what struck me most was he was the sweatiest guy I'd ever seen. Sweaty enough to make an impression, obviously a lasting impression. Honestly, it was as if he had a tap on top of his head. Anyway, I didn't think much of it until I later saw him talking to a customer at work, and instantly I recognised him as the sweaty guy from earlier. Having now known Steve for 12 years, I can safely say that my first impression was correct, and it's all been downhill since then. So, as well as working together, Steve and I lived together for many years, got to 2 different flats, which is where I really got to know the man behind the sweat. This is also when I became aware of his love of cooking pasta and eggs, and that was pretty much it, and sometimes at the same time. Yeah, exactly. But a controversial top tip that Steve swears by is always boil the water in the kettle first. And you can ask him about that later on. It's a relationship breaker, so... Aside from cooking, we spent most of our time watching rubbish TV whilst engaging in average banter and winding our flatmate Owen up by making weird noises and calling him mad. Can we actually get one of those noises? That's the one. That's it. Through living together, Steve became less of a housemate or a colleague and more of a weird, sweaty brother. We became so close I shamefully remember having a hungover poo next to Steve while he was in the bath. His head no more than 30 centimetres from my bum. Those were the days.
Now, normally the best man will reel off a load of funny stories they have about the groom. But with Steve, and I mean this in the nicest way, I don't have a great deal worth remembering. So Rod and I have a little gift which I think will help. We have put together a book with some photos, stories and comments about Steve from friends past, present, and some people who barely knew him at all, just to get the numbers up. We were really clutching after about 6 people. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick some stories from the book, completely at random, and hopefully it won't be anything too offensive. So this is the first picture, just so everyone's aware.
Sweet. About 5 weeks ago.
That's actually a really recent photo. So the first one, again, a complete random. I have never seen a man's testicles as much as I have seen Steve's. Especially as I've never asked to see them. When we won the league in Oz, Steve thought it would be good to get his balls out in the team picture, and that's what they used in the newsletter, without realising that his tiny balls were there in print. And that one has been written from one of the groomsmen, Tim Brown. Another one, again, completely at random. I remember the Bad Friday party at Teresa's house in Redfern. I think Steve was dressed up in a bunny lingerie costume. He was sucking off a carrot in a kitchen full of people, then he got his cock out. I think we all did. Great memory. Morris Bailey. And then we'll finish it off with one more. Yeah, random again. Anyone who hands me leaves to wipe my arse with while I'm taking a shit in a public park is a friend for life. And that is from... It doesn't matter who that's from. We'll move on.
So, talking about stories, as we know, Steve is a self-proclaimed social media influencer and a huge fan of the Insta story. At our last count, Steve has at least 4 social media personas. Firstly, his personal account, Steve.Forster, previously known as Instagram, where you'll find all the day-to-day nice pictures of Steve and Rosie together. Secondly, You Look Great, Sir, a gentleman's fashion and lifestyle page, followed by its spin-off, You Look Great Health, a health and well-being page mostly used to vlog Herbalife and hemp products in different pyramid schemes. And finally, Stephen Forster Photography, which is an excuse to take pictures of half-naked women in gym gear and men dressed as Peaky Blinders. However, the pinnacle of Steve's social media career must be his old Bebo account. Sadly, this account no longer exist, presumably because Steve deleted it and bribed somebody at Bebo to get rid of every trace of it. Otherwise, I honestly don't think we'd be here today. There's no way on earth that Rosie would have agreed to go on a date with him, let alone marry him based on his 2005 online persona. He'd still be a virgin, wouldn't he? There are 2 things on Steve's Bebo profile that stood out for me. Firstly, an album called S.G. Forster Modelling Inc., which contained the images of Steve posing and pouting in monochrome ensembles on a building site. So I'm like, yeah, right kind of thing. He would later claim that this was for a university assignment. However, given his recent history with Instagram and social media, that's very sus. Even better and cringier was his bio section, which truly depicted the cultured individual behind the S.G. Forster modelling franchise. Under favourite drinks, Steve had written, double vodka Red Bull, ... every time, in capitals. Funny thing, I don't think I've ever seen you drink a double of anything, so... Then in their activities, Steve had written, 40 people in a 5-bedroom house shouldn't happen, ... But it does. I'm really not sure where he got 40 friends from personally, But I'm glad his event planning skills have improved since then. I mean, in fairness, he's got 60 of us in a tent tonight. So it's not yurt, not too bad. Speaking of planning, we recently undertook the challenge of arranging the stag do for Steve. As Steve and Rosie got engaged in New York, we decided it would be quite poetic and cheaper and closer to have the stag do in York. We did all the typical stag stuff, so foot golf, horse racing, last minute hotel cancellation, all those kind of things. But without doubt, the most surprising aspect was that other than the fact that Steve somehow managed to look good in a gimp suit, was that he did quite well in terms of drinking alcohol. Much better than expected. So it's common knowledge that Steve has never drunk a full pint of beer in his life, which is ridiculous. He mostly sticks to Passion Pop, which is an Australian alcopop aimed at teenage girls, and Strongbow Dark Fruits, which when you ordered it a few weeks ago in the Nash in Bristol, which is Gentlemen's Club in Bristol, you could have wished... Working Men's Club in Bristol. Sorry, that's a different thing. That was later. It caused deathly silence. Literally, you could hear a pin drop. However, in York, Steve was downing shots of whiskey and absinthe without a care in the world, and it honestly made you a better person, I reckon. So, as Steve had lived in Australia for a few years, at the stag do we decided it was an Aussie tradition would be implemented, the old shoey. For those who don't know, a shoey is just simply drinking your drink out of a shoe. That easy. It was decided that Steve needed to drink all drinks going forward out of his stinky, sweaty shoe, which surprisingly held a lot more alcohol than expected. Fair play to Steve, he did pretty well, and he only officially got kicked out of one venue when the disheartened bouncer went, "Not in the shoe, lads. Get out." So with that in mind, Tom and I decided to get Steve a gift to commemorate the weekend and the fact that Steve not only survived but flourished drinking so many shots. So Steve, this is for you. It's original and bespoke. Please cherish it forever. And that was the actual shoe as well. So, well, it was actually Steve's. Yeah, his favourite shoe. It's been in the wash, and now it's going on the mantelpiece. Surely. So, actually, if anybody does want to buy Steve a drink tonight, please note that he'll only accept it out of a shoe. So, before I hand back to Tom, I've scoured the internet for a reading to guide you in your married life. And I settled on slightly edited lyrics by Steve's favourite theme song singers, the Rembrandts, from his favourite show, Friends. For some reason, it's one of your favourite shows, and it's probably 90% of your banter. I'm not going to sing it though. Rosie, so no one told you life was going to be this way. Steve's knob's a joke. He's broke. Your sex life's just okay. It's ridiculous that he's never finished a pint of beer. But you've signed up to be with him every day, week, month, even year. But Steve'll be there for you, even though he's only 5'4". Steve'll be there for you when he can't get it up anymore. Steve'll be there for you, because you'll be there for Steve too. Rosie, you're a solid 10. On a good day, Steve's an 8. 7? 6? No. Although he can be a sweaty mess, he was a fantastic roommate. Your mother probably warned you about men like Steve, but I think it's safe to say we're all glad he got down on one knee. Steve will be there for you, even though he's losing his hairdo. Steve will be there for you while he's drinking out a shoe. Steve will be there for you, because he'll be there for Steve too. Thank you very much.
But to summarise, in all seriousness, Steve is a great friend of mine, top 10 in fact, and has been for over 12 years now, maybe 15. And we couldn't be happy for you. After some of the rubbish you have been with over the years, mate, and there has been a lot of rubbish, you really hit gold here with Rosie. You two are an amazing couple, and you both deserve all the happiness that comes your way. Now, if we can all please stand and raise a glass to the Forsters. Forsters.